Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. We are doing another AMA, surprise! Big reason for this is because in the last AMA, you guys submitted over 300 questions and I answered honestly less than 30 of them, which I do apologize. I feel like I didn't even answer a fraction of the number of questions you guys sent in and I want to do a lot more, so let's jump right into it. First up, we have Carl who asks, are promos more valuable or sought after when sealed in the original packaging or graded? That's a great question, Carl, and a big part of it is that graded cards tend to hold a premium mainly because of the cost of grading. There's a lot of value that goes into grading a card outside of the simple authentication. You also have the grade, you also have the encapsulation, and now everyone knows that it's a legitimate card. So there's a lot of value added to graded cards, especially cards that are gem mint. Those tend to hold a premium. Sealed cards in their original packaging are valuable and a lot of collectors do want these, but I think graded Pokemon cards, especially those with a gem mint grade, will always hold a premium over even sealed cards. I don't know a single sealed card that holds a value higher than a graded gem mint card. Next up, we have Mr. George 92 who asks, at how many subs will you reach your final evolution form of TwicebakedJake? I don't know. Honestly, the channel's grown way more than I ever expected to. If you told me at any point in my life that I would have 70K subs, I would never believe you. This is already an extraordinary number, a number that I honestly thought was unobtainable. Like, this number should have never been even possible. So I think, how high can we ever reach? I feel like 100K is my limit. If I ever reach 100K, then I'm more than happy and satisfied. I'm already super happy with the audience that I have and the community that we've built. Like, this is way more than I ever expected it to grow into, and I'm more than satisfied with the channel. My goal is no longer to like ever really grow the channel or do anything crazy. I'm more than happy to just maintain the community as is. Next up, we have Ethan who asks, number one, what's the best way to find out about the newest products that can be pre-ordered? Probably from this channel. Honestly, anything that is new or going to be released, even 3 months down the line, we probably are already talking about on this channel. Unless you're under a rock or in a coma for 3 months, you're gonna find out about pretty much everything that's happening in the hobby well ahead of time. Second question from Eaton is, how come I see YouTubers opening up boxes on new products before their official release date? Is there a way for me to have early access to new products? You can definitely get products before release. There's a couple of different ways, and the most legit way is to simply go to your local pre-release tournament. Most game stores in different communities will hold pre-release tournaments for upcoming sets 2 weeks in advance before release. So if you want to open up a bunch of new packs from the latest set before release and play the card game, you can definitely do that and even win booster packs from your local game store. A lot of game stores are opening up tournaments again. Pre-releases are happening again. Chilling Reign had a lot of pre-release, and I expect Evolving Skies to have even more. So if you want to get booster packs or crack open sets before release, don't think it's special to just YouTubers or something like that. It's not as exclusive as you think. If you want to open up booster packs before release, you definitely can. Next up, do you think we'll have some Arceus and Sinnoh themed card releases to coincide with the new games later this year or early next year? And yes, I do think we will get a direct tie-in to the upcoming revamp of Diamond and Pearl, and there's a bunch of reason for that, but in general, this is what the Pokemon company has done in the past. They'll usually tie in the games with the cards, and this is only related specifically to the main series of games, so don't expect tie-ins to a lot of other stuff. We don't ever see like a tie-in between Pokemon TCG and Smash Bros or something like that. It's just not gonna really happen, but definitely I do expect to see a lot of Arceus and Sinnoh related cards, and that's totally to be expected. When there was a re-release of, what was it? Alpha Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, one of those games, both of those came with re-release of a lot of those cards in the TCG. So I can expect something very similar to happen. We now have Ryan who asks, hey Jake, do you think the Pokemon company has caught up with more printing? I noticed that Battle Styles was easier to get, but then again, it was a mediocre set. Could Pokemon scalping heavily return in future sets? Maybe. Pokemon Celebrations has me definitely a little bit worried, but in general, you're absolutely right. The Pokemon company is doing a really fantastic job of catching up print runs. Print runs are much larger now. I can go to my local game store and I can guarantee myself that I can pick up a booster box of Chilling Reign right now. I don't even have to look it up. I don't have to call in first and check to see if they have it in stock. I am confident they have Pokemon card products in stock. They've definitely laxed down on the number of products that they are withholding from people. So definitely if I want to go to my local game store, I can pick up products now. Products are available at much more reasonable prices. Definitely Battle Styles booster boxes, Chilling Reign booster boxes, some of the recent sets, you're definitely finding things for much cheaper prices. Even Vivid Voltage, you can look it up right now with the recent reprint of Vivid Voltage booster boxes. You can find Vivid Voltage booster boxes for going for what? $120 to $100, so much more affordable than where they were 6 months ago. Next up, we have Thomas who asks, is it time to start investing in Hidden Fates evolutions? Thomas, my friend, I'm sorry, but you missed that train by probably 6 to 12 months. If you had purchased those cards 12 months ago, fantastic time. They were so much more affordable. Now it's much more challenging to find those cards at what I would call reasonable prices. Hidden Fates is a really fantastic set though, and I don't really think those cards prices are going to drop in any near future state, but I also don't think they're going to be climbing much in the near future. In the next 4 to 5 years, I expect Hidden Fates card prices on the singles to be pretty much flat unless there's another big explosion in the hobby. I don't expect these cards prices to really climb at all. They'll stay pretty healthy, and that's completely okay for the short run. Next up, we have Mookie who asks, which slabs are you the most aesthetically pleasing finding? And there's a bunch of really cool slabs. We have PSA, CGC, BGS, and a bunch of other ones. A ton of different grading companies have popped up over the last year because everyone wants graded Pokemon cards, but I would still recommend, if you are grading Pokemon cards, to stick to the top 3, which is PSA, BGS, and CGC. And of those 3, and it's hard to explain, it's really challenging, but I do think the BGS Black Label is by far the most gorgeous slab. It's not even close. It's a really cool slab to have inside of your collection. Doesn't even matter what card you have. If it's in a Black Label BGS case, it looks fantastic, and they're all really, really valuable no matter which one you get. We now have Base Blue Boy who asks, what is my least favorite Wizard of the Coast set? Very challenging questions. They're all really fantastic. I would say if I had to pick which ones I like the least, I'd probably pick something like Jungle or Fossil, especially Jungle. A big part of what I don't like about Jungle is that so many of the cards are done a duplicate a second time inside of Jungle, right? There's so many repeats in Jungle. You have a non-holo and a holo version of pretty much every rare card, and I don't like that. You can't just double up the cards and say the set is twice as big, right? It's still the same card. You can't count it twice, but that's how they did it in Jungle, is what they showed twice of every single holo, and they did some similar stuff with a lot of the other sets that came out after that. So I didn't like that. I like that there is a single of every single card, and doubling up by adding a holo version of the card just isn't right to me. We also have Poor Man's Pokemon, great name, who asks, as a collector, should I be keeping sealed product? I love the idea and the displayability, but man, can it be hard to not rip everything, especially Hidden Fates? And I absolutely agree. I know that feeling. It's really cool to display sealed products, especially because you know that sensation and that feeling of like, you don't know what's inside. There could be a Charizard in there. There could be a super hyper rare card inside those booster packs. And that to me is kind of thrilling to know that I have a sort of peace of mind that there could be something cool in there. And you are the kind of person that would be driven insane with not knowing what's inside. So it just depends on your mindset. I'm the kind of person that actually feels a bit of pain when I open up something vintage, you know. I don't like to destroy it. It's almost like sacrilege to me. So that's why I enjoy having sealed products. The preservation of these sealed products is something that I find really interesting, and it makes me feel good inside. So that's why I have sealed products. And if you're that kind of collector, you probably completely understand where I'm coming from. So it just depends on your mindset. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being the kind of collector to crack every pack open. If that's who you are and that's what you enjoy, then that's so be it. That's totally fine as well. Next up, we have a question which is it better to spend all your budget on one super rare card or several less rare cards? And this is a really important question because I know people on both sides of the fence. And I have a very large collection, and what I've learned is that it gets really tedious. I'll be honest, guys. When you have a large collection, it gets really challenging to keep track of it all. Make sure everything is clean, make sure everything is tidy, making sure everything is in its place. And it's even a challenge to move it all and sell it all, as I've learned with moving house and purchasing my own property. It was a massive challenge. So at my point in life, I much prefer having less. Less is more to me. Having one valuable card is much better than having a bunch of bulk products. So at my point in time, I would say I would much prefer having one super rare card over a bunch of less rare cards, but it completely depends on you. Maybe you're the kind of collector who likes having a large, vast ocean of collection or collectibles, and that's completely cool as well. So it completely depends on you, but for me personally, I'm at the point in my life where less is definitely more, because I can't be carrying with me 100 booster boxes. It's just too much. It's so ridiculous. At a certain point, you gotta start losing some of these stuff, because I've actually lost stuff before. I have had really expensive cards in my collection that just disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. And honestly, that's an error on my own part, because I didn't keep good inventory or keep good track of where every single card in my collection was. And I feel like if my collection was a little bit smaller, I would be able to keep better track of them. So that's why at my point in life, I want my collection to be a little bit more niche, but still valuable. So something a bit smaller would be better for me. If you're on the other side, that's totally cool as well. Next up, we have Peppa, who asks, can you do another episode on the best 10 cards under $50? You nailed the last one in November. See, there was a lot of people really enjoyed that video, and a portion of people really didn't like that video. And those people would be the ones that are saying, like, you know, I'm alienating the hobby for having an opinion, or throwing out these ideas that some of these cards are valuable or something like that. And I know where they're coming from, and I fully understand that. The point of that video wasn't to say like, hey man, these cards are gonna go up crazy in value. They sort of did that, but I'll be honest, if you look at the list of cards that I picked, they weren't special in the way that you might traditionally think. None of these picks were really anything that would surprise you. And a big reason why I did that video was because so many people, and this was in November of 2020, so many people were constantly messaging and commenting saying, oh, the hobby is too expensive. There's nothing I can collect, Jake. Everything is so expensive. And I was trying to be nice, but I was like, that's not true. There's tons of really cool cards out there that you can definitely collect for cheap. You just have to be willing to take a look. There's so many cool cards out there that are still underappreciated. So I made a very quick list. Honestly, that list took me less than like an hour. And I was like, it was so easy to just cough up cool cards under 50 bucks. And when I produced that list, it wasn't really me trying to push some cards or influence you guys. It was more me saying, hey, look, here's some example of some cool cards in the hobby, and maybe you can find some cool examples out there for you. I wanted to provide that seed of like, hey, here are examples of cool cards. If you want to collect cards, there are still cool, cheap, affordable cards out there. And that's what I wanted to prove with that video. And I'm glad you really enjoyed it. Next question, we have Ryan Chung, who asks, since you open up a lot of packs and therefore get a lot of duplicate comments Any chance you'll do a giveaway where you sign the common cards and give them away? I think it'd be really cool for fans. Hell yes. I will happily sign any card you want, and I'm more than happy to send you cards. I have sent pretty much every single viewer who sent me a letter, a card, or sign, or anything, especially if they requested it. I'm not the kind of person that would just sign a card and be like, here you go, have this card. No, if you want my signature, I'll be more than happy to give it to you, but it's not anything valuable to me. I'll never charge money for my signature. And we do give away a lot of cards on this channel. For my holiday stream last year, I gave away over 1,000 ultra rare cards to 1,000 different viewers, and each one of those letters, I handwritten a letter to everyone. It was a massive undertaking by me. It took me like 3 days, and it cost a lot of money, but I really wanted to do it because I wanted to start a bunch of collections from other people. I want to contribute to other people's collection, and I do plan on doing something similar this year. I built up a nice collection of ultra rares and secret rares and full art cards that I can give away, and I'm hoping that I can do something similar. We'll have to see. I'm still planning it, seeing how it all logistically works out, because I'm a one-man band. I do this all by myself. I literally took 3 days off work last year just so that I could write letters and ship letters to people, and I'm hoping that I can do something similar this year. I definitely want to connect with a lot more viewers, write letters to you guys. I sent letters all over the world last year, and I want to do something similar because it was one of the most cool experience in my life. Like, I really enjoyed doing that. It was a really cool way for me to connect to the community. So I'm more than happy to sign cards, write letters, and send you guys ultra rare cards. Like, believe me, I'm more than happy to give away some of my Pokemon cards. I'm more than down for that. Next up, we have Cool Aaron, who asks, what cameras do you use to film your video? I literally use a Samsung Galaxy S9 Android phone to film every single one of my video. It's how I started, and it's still how I do it to this day. I've tried using other camera. I can't find one that I enjoy. If I find a nice high quality one, I'm more than be willing to switch, but it hasn't reached that point yet. If you want to start a Pokemon YouTube channel, it's super easy to do. You have a smartphone right there. You just need a $20 microphone, some cheap lighting, and boom, you can get started right away. That's always been my setup, and that's always what I wanted. I never want it to be anything fancy, and honestly, it doesn't need to be. For you to communicate with viewers, or for you to have a community, or you to be able to contact people, it's all very simple. You just gotta be willing to start it out. I'll be honest, I hate a lot of my older videos, but that's totally fine. Lesson learned. You gotta develop who you are, and that's just gonna take time. And you can only really do it by trying, so you have to at least try. There's voices in the community that needs to have a voice. And if you wanna have that voice, if you think that I'm wrong, go ahead, make a channel and tell me how wrong I am. Do whatever you want, have your own insight, be free. You have my blessing. Next up, we have SimDave93, who asks, which cards did you sell in order to buy your house, and were they graded or not? Every single card that I sold to buy my house was graded. I sold a bunch of sealed products as well, but every single card that I sold to buy my house was graded. A lot of it was what you would expect it to be. I sold a lot of Pikachu promo cards, like Scream promo, a bunch of different promo cards. I sold some less quality trophy cards, like victory medal cards, stuff like that. And a lot of these cards can accumulate in value very quickly. I mean, the Scream promo, I sold that thing for around $2,000. And I think for the total amount that I sold, I think it was around $30,000 in valuable cards. It wasn't too crazy. But nowadays, I pretty much only sell graded Pokemon cards. I really don't sell ungraded Pokemon cards anymore. It's too much hassle. It's so much easier to sell a Pokemon card when it's graded. Everyone knows what the condition of the card is. Everyone knows it's authentic. You don't have to take 1,000 pictures. It's so much less hassle to sell a Pokemon card when it's graded. So that's what I like to do nowadays. I would never sell an ungraded Pokemon card unless I really, really had to. It's just too much hassle. Final question, we have Isaiah, who asks, do you think it's worth grabbing a copy of the upcoming Unagaba Pikachu collab promo card at the current going rate of $55 to $60? And here's a big one for me. No, keep your money. Do not spend $55 to $60 on this card. As someone who is a Pikachu promo collector and as someone who's been in the hobby, I value this card at around $20. I think that's a solid price for this card. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. The biggest one is the quantity, the volume of this card. This is not going to be a rare promo card. Is it cool? Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna pick one up for my own collection, but not for that price. And the big reason for this is that once it's released, it's going to be readily available in pretty much every single Pokemon Center for 2 to 3 weeks probably. There's going to be thousands and thousands of copies of this card on release. So don't be one of those suckers that's pre-ordering one at $60. I honestly think it's worth $20. And maybe I'll eat my word if I'm wrong, but I really don't think so. That's the price point that I have it set at, and I probably won't buy it for more. We'll see. But if 3 to 4 weeks after release, it hasn't reached that price point, I'll bite the bullet and I'll buy it for whatever price it's at. But I do think if you are willing to be patient, this card will be much cheaper than what it is right now. All right, everybody, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy it. I did say I would try to connect with the community a lot more often. I still read pretty much every single comment. I reply to a lot of the comments, and I'm more than willing to do more Q&As, AMAs, or any kind of guidance that you guys might need or want inside the hobby. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your viewership, and I will see you guys next time.